Hi, hi. Hello, everyone. If it's at all okay, could people tell me how I sound? Am I too loud? Is the music too loud? Is the music too quiet? I'm going to be juggling quite a few audio sources, so people could give me some advice depending on how it sounds to you. Hello everyone. I'm going to turn this music down a little bit. Doesn't need to be quite that loud. Hello, and welcome to perhaps one of the dumbest ideas I've ever had. We're going to spend the next couple of hours and change very slowly ranking a bunch of games that have not necessarily anything to do with each other, that just happened to come out at some point between the years 2001 and 2025. I thought this might be a fun, weird thing to do at the end of the year for no other reason than, I don't know, to stave off boredom. I can't think of any other better reasons to do this, because it's I don't know, it seemed like a good idea a couple weeks ago when I came up with it, but now it just seems really silly. But oh well, it's too late to go back now. We've already started. So I've spent the last few weeks very slowly building this giant list of games that for whatever reason stick out in my mind that came out over the last 25 years. And these are not necessarily great games, but they are games that I think are like really interesting. Either they are good or they are really interesting. They, for, you know, like what I said, for whatever reason, they just stick out in my mind. And we're not going to be ranking. Obviously, we're not going to be ranking every single game that came out over the last 25 years because we'd be here for fucking days. But you know, I think we've got at least a couple hundred here that we can pull from. Now. The idea was to rank games from the last 25 years, right? Because the 21st century begins at 2001, not 2000. 2000 is technically part of the 20th century. It's the final year of the 20th century. 21st century begins in 2001. But I have had a think. Have had a thought about it, and there's no reason why we couldn't also include some games from 2000. I mean, why not? What's the harm? So I came up with a little list of games that really stick out in my mind from the year 2000. I'm going to miss some stuff. Some stuff is going to get left behind. It's just going to be part of this, right? Like I said, we can't rank every game that exists because we'll be here forever. So hopefully you enjoy this. Okay, so before we start, I just want to flash up this little warning here for everyone so they understand. The opinions expressed in this video are just that, opinions. They are entirely subjective and therefore should not be taken as an attack on your personal taste. There we go. Just so everyone understands, this is just some fun. We're just having a little bit of fun here. If I don't put a game that you like as high as you would like it, it's not an attack on you, man. It's not an attack on you. So why don't we start? Let's stop dragging things out and let's just start, shall we? So there is a link in the video, in the stream description down there, where you can go to a Google Doc. Oh, come on. I'm getting mixed up between actual Windows on my desktop and Windows on OBS. Okay. So if you could click on the link at the bottom of the stream in the description, that will take you to this Google Doc, and you can watch me input names in real time if that's something that you find interesting. Okay. I'm going to open a drink. And shall we get started with the first one? Let's start with 2000, shall we? Let's get 2000 out of the way. So I've got a... You can't see it from where you are, obviously, but I've got a gigantic pile of physical games right next to me on the floor over here, all segmented into separate little piles for each year. Because I thought props make a video more fun, so I will occasionally be reaching down here to pick some stuff up to put it in front of the camera, because a lot of these games on this list here, I still have copies of, you know? I still have them. Oh. I need to keep track of what's on my window and what's what's on OBS. That's going to be fun. Okay. Close that for now. Don't need that for now. Close that for now. Okay. Just give me a second. Okay. All right. We're okay. So, I've lost it now. There it is. Okay. Let's run down the list. So, first game. Perfect Dark. I've got images and everything. I do own a copy of Perfect Dark, but it's at the back of my storage room, and the N64 stuff in my storage room is all the way at the back, and if I wanted to get that stuff out, it would take me a long time to get to it, and I just don't want to dig that far into my storage room, so I just grabbed whatever was relatively close to the door, which unfortunately does not include any N64 games. So, please forgive me for that. You know what we can do? We can watch footage. So let me just pause this music. Come on now. There we go. Bring up this. Oh my god. Get out of the way. Close this. Let's just watch a video of Perfect Dark. This is Perfect Dark. Those of you who are not familiar with Perfect Dark. Perfect Dark was a game for the Nintendo 64. It, oh, thank you for Larry Frage for providing this footage that now we are looking at. It was an incredibly ambitious game It was an incredibly ambitious game for its era, and some might argue pushed the N64 a little bit too hard. It's a first-person shooter from Rare. It did a lot of really cool, interesting things. It was technically very impressive for the hardware it was running on, but man, did it pay in its performance. This game does not run well at all. This game, I would argue, runs... I would argue this game runs like shit, but it is really, really interesting and cool. Yeah, there's a taste of that N64 frame rate there for you. Woof! Let's see, it was a game that required the N64 expansion pack in order to play the campaign. If you didn't own the expansion pack, you were limited to a reduced version of the game's multiplayer. And yeah, woof. Honestly, like unironically, like a really like impressive N64 game from like a technical standpoint, and it has some really cool ideas, and it's you know it is the true successor to GoldenEye. It is the true successor to GoldenEye. But yeah, it definitely. Some might say it pushes the N64 too hard. There are certain segments of this game that are borderline unplayable because of how bad the performance gets. Had a lot of really interesting multiplayer modes, had a co-op campaign, had a counter-operative campaign. So if you wanted to, you could have a friend play as one of the NPC guards. Really, really silly. This game was, as you can see on the box art, a 18 rated. This game got an 18 age rating, which is really crazy, because this game's not that violent. There's no swearing, there's no bad language, there's no nudity. It's just there's like a little bit of blood if you shoot an enemy and he's standing next to a wall. When he falls to the ground, there might be like a red smudge on the wall behind him, and that's about as gory as it gets. But for some reason, they gave it a full 18 age rating in Europe, which is, I think, a bit excessive. But you know, video game ratings were maybe a little bit different back then. I don't know what's all these alternate Joanna Darks are doing. Did the game let you do 4-player co-op? I thought it was just 2-player co-op. It's crazy if it was 4-player co-op. That would be nuts. Really, really, like, interesting and technically impressive game for its time, with some really, like, interesting and I would say experimental game modes. Maybe hasn't aged too well though, in hindsight. Anyway, that is enough of that. So let's just go ahead and put Perfect Dark for now. Oh my god. There we go. I have too many sources open. I have too many sources. Skies of Arcadia from Overworks for the Dreamcast. And then later a GameCube port. Came out in 2000. Skies of Arcadia is an all-time classic RPG from Sega. Hang on, let me just... get some gameplay up and then we can look at some gameplay. Okay. Here we go. So this is some really low res recordings. This is 14 years old, this recording, so that's why it's so low res. Okay, Scars of Arcadia. An RPG that is set in like... I'm not sure. Is it just a fantasy world, or is it a post-apocalyptic world? Is it meant to be supposedly in the far, far distant future, where humanity has to is forced to live in the sky because the ground is so destroyed and messed up and polluted? I don't know. I'm going to assume it's like a post-apocalyptic, super, super far future, like thousands of years in the future, sort of deal. The main mode of transportation is you travel between floating islands via the use of airships, and the whole game itself has just got a really cool. It's a really cool aesthetic. I'm going to say it cribs really heavily from the original Grandia. If any of you have ever seen or played the original Grandia, I'm going to say Skies of Arcadia kind of just steals a bunch of its style from that game, so it's not exactly a unique aesthetic, although saying that, Grandia does in fact steal its aesthetic from what's that Studio Ghibli movie? I need to change the picture. There we go. I'm juggling so many things today. I've got so many things I've got to keep track of. It's getting a bit on top of me. Oh, look, there's a watermark on that box art that I didn't notice before. That's always cool. That's always really nice when people decide to put a fucking watermark on a piece of box art as if they own the fucking image. That's real nice of them. Thanks, guy, whoever the hell you are. So I'm thinking, why don't we just... go ahead and why don't we just go ahead and I'm just going to put Skies of Arcadia above Perfect Dark for now. And oh god, why is it doing this? There we go. So we have a new number 1 in the 2000s. in 2000. Congratulations to Skies of Arcadia. Okay. Continuing. Next game. Oh. Okay, sorry, I'm not paying attention to the chat very well. Yes, I see. Probably referring to the 18 rating there. I've got a theory about the 18 rating on Perfect Dark. And my theory is that 18 rating was intentional. I think Rare probably could have gotten away with a 15, but I think Rare intentionally asked for an 18 rating because I think the people at the time at Rare were being very cynical, and they thought, our target demographic is very predictable. If we intentionally give the game an 18 rating, it'll just make them want to play it more. I think it was a very cynical ploy to try and give the game more attention among teenagers. Because knowing the way I was in 2000, a game having an 18 rating would have absolutely have made it more interesting to me, because that's just the kind of teenage dirtbag I was. At least that's my theory behind the 18 rating on Perfect Dark. It's just there's no evidence for that. It's just purely something in my head that I've always thought. Okay. Next game from 2000 that really sticks out in my mind. The original The Sims. The original The Sims is the only version of The Sims that I ever liked. That I was ever interested in playing. I got this game for my birthday, and because I asked for it in 2000. And I loved this fucking game. I played probably hundreds of hours of the original The Sims. I downloaded mods. I downloaded all stuff for it. I bought at least one expansion pack for it. I was very, very Sims pilled when this game came out. And so you'd think, if you like the original The Sims so much, would you not also like The Sims 2 and onwards? And no, I never liked any of the sequels. The original The Sims is the only Sims I ever liked. It was the only one. And I don't know why. It's a mystery to me why that's the case. I tried playing The Sims 2. I tried The Sims 3. I tried The Sims 4. None of them were remotely as interesting to me as that first few months I had with the original The Sims. And it's very strange because I was super into this game at the time. For the 5 people in the world who don't know what The Sims is, it's basically a virtual pet game, but the pets are people. And you have to get them jobs, you have to pay so they can pay their bills, you have to give them furniture, you have to give them meaning in their life, you have to give them social interaction. It really is it's a really cool and interesting and new idea at the time. They've never really quite, I don't know. I don't think they've ever really been able to improve on it since the first game. I feel like the franchise, at least to me, has just been spinning its wheels ever since the first one. The Sims is available on Steam. Let me just see if that Steam page has a video, because if the Steam page has a video, I can show you that. Apparently the Steam version is really buggy. Apparently people are not happy with the state of the game on Steam. Okay, I can't find it. Give me just a moment. There we go. Sims. Okay, the Sims Legacy Collection. That's what it's called. Oh no, it's like a weird modern trailer they made for the Steam re-release. That sucks. Oh well, YouTube it is then. And so yeah, this is the Sims gameplay. You start off by either buying or building a house for your little guys, and you furnish it. You paint the walls. You put carpet down. The whole game is from like a 2D isometric perspective. Later Sims games would be in full 3D, but this game is mostly 2D. The only polygonal aspect of The Sims 1 are the Sims themselves. Oh, we got sirens outside. That's cool. Yep. You got to cater to their emotional needs as well as their physical needs. You got to make sure they go to the toilet. You got to make sure they eat. You got to make sure they talk to people and don't just, you know, become hermits. Miserable, depressed hermits who never go outside. And it was neat. It was really neat and cool and interesting, and I spent probably way too much time playing this game.
Rad Funnelt. Oh, Fred Matt don't count.
And that's pretty much it. Okay. So, okay, The Sims. I'm going to say The Sims is probably better than Perfect Dark, and it's probably better than Scars of Arcadia as well, so I'm just going to go ahead and put... God damn it, I did it again. Just because you've right-clicked a cell doesn't mean that that cell is necessarily highlighted. That's annoying. There we go. The Sims. Our new #1 for 2000. Okay, the next game we are going to look at... Hang on. Is a game I am extremely fond of and I have spoken of multiple times in the past. Colin McRae Rally 2. One of the most revered rally games ever made. This was an incredible driving game by the standards of the time. Both the PC version and the PlayStation 1 version are excellent for their platforms. And in fact, I have both. Where's it gone? Uh-oh, there it is. I have both versions right here. Now, obviously, the PC version is the best version of the game, but the PlayStation version is no slouch. It is a surprisingly excellent port of the game, and if that was the version you had back then that is still an excellent experience. So let's have a look at some gameplay. Can I do a playthrough of Terminator 2D? Oh, that's that new one, isn't it? They put out like a fake retro game based on Terminator 2. Yeah, I've heard of that. I haven't seen it in action yet. I haven't actually seen any gameplay. So let's get it. Finding decent gameplay footage of Colin McRae Rally 2 is hard. Okay, here we go. I found a good one. Yeah, Colin McRae Rally 2 had these really cool menus. They were very like abstract menus. Very, very stylish. I am trying to do a better job of looking at the chat. I am looking at the chat now. Basically, every time I look over like this, I'm looking at chat. So, yeah, Colin McRae Rally 2 was really awesome. It had great style for the time. It's very slick. The menus were really slick looking. And, well, Oh, it's a weird glitch. I'm assuming the person who recorded this gameplay is obviously not running it on period correct hardware, so there are going to be visual bugs in this recording. But yeah, this game looked fucking awesome for the time. And yeah, the PlayStation version basically looked exactly the same, except obviously at like a lower resolution and with unfiltered textures. So yeah, this was Codemasters at their best. The driving controls, they were like a weird, like halfway point between arcadey and realistic. So obviously by modern standards you wouldn't call them realistic at all. But back then they were pretty damn like good, you know. I don't know if the person who's recording this footage is going to show the cockpit view, but this game had a really like detailed cockpit view for the time as well, with like complete with like hands on the steering wheel. Oh, there we go. There's the cockpit view, which was really cool for the time. Very immersive. Again, this was another game I probably spent a little bit too much time playing. Primarily the PC version, because that was the better of the two, and we had a PC at home that could play it quite well, so... Colin McRae Rally 2 kind of set the standard for the whole franchise, really, until Dirt started. In fact, there is a game on Steam called, I think it's not available for sale yet. At least I don't think so. It's called Old School Rally, and somebody's literally trying to recreate like an old style rally game in the mold of Colin McRae Rally 2. At least I think it's called Old School Rally. Let me quickly look that up. Yeah, Old School Rally. There's a game on Steam that is... oh, you can buy it. It is for sale, so it's... okay, that's cool. It's literally somebody trying to create a fake Colin McRae Rally 2, and that's really funny to me. But by the looks of it, they're trying to replicate the look of the PlayStation version and not the PC version, which is... I mean, sure, the PlayStation version was very popular as well. And I suspect that version may have sold more copies, so there are probably more people out there who fondly remember that version over the PC original, but the PC version, which is what you're seeing here, is what I had. Yeah, this game is cool as hell, and also it holds up really well. This is a game that still is great fun to play. It's just a great feeling, like, driving game. Alright. Where's it gonna go on the list? Where's Colin McRae Rally 2.0 gonna go? I like Colin McRae Rally 2 more than Perfect Dark. I think it's better than Skies of Arcadia. But I don't think it's quite as good as the original Sims. So it's going between Skies of Arcadia and The Sims. Do I remember a PC game on CD-ROM with Tia Carrera in it? FMV game. FMV game, Tia Carrera. Doesn't ring any bells. Hang on. Only one result has come up. It's called the Daedalus Encounter, and it's for 3DO. So, no, I've never heard of this. But it's an FMV game, you say? That's... huh, okay. I'm always down for some bad FM or some bad but awesome FMV games. Okay. All right. Next game. Next game. The next game we're going to look at in the 2000 category is another personal favourite of mine. Now, you might not be expecting this one, but let me explain. Ridge Racer 64. Yes, yeah, Ridge Racer 64 is a 2000 game. That's a really late N64 game. For some reason in my head, I always thought Ridge Racer 64 was like a 98 or a 99 game, but no, it's 2000. That's a lot later than I remembered. Weird. Ridge Racer 64 is one of the best classic Ridge Racer games of the original run of Ridge Racer, like pre PlayStation 2 Ridge Racers. So that's Ridge Racer to Ridge Racer Type 4. Ridge Racer 64 is one of the best ones. It's incredible. Let's have a look. Ridge Racer 64 was the first Ridge Racer I think that actually like really went off the deep end in terms of its driving physics. Because the Ridge Racer games always had like really over the top like driving physics and drifting physics, but Ridge Racer 64 I believe was the first Ridge Racer where you could just straight up do while drifting round a corner, you could just do straight up full 360s while going round a corner and then keep going on the straight. It was it's really over the top. Let's play this footage. It's only my second favourite Ridge Racer from this time. Ridge Racer Type 4 is still king. Ridge Racer Type 4 is... it's not even close. But, you know, like Ridge Racer Type 4 is the best classic Ridge Racer, but 64's pretty awesome as well. Funnily enough, not made by Namco, this game. This is not a Namco game. Obviously it's got Namco's name on it because Namco owns the Ridge Racer franchise, but the N64 version of Ridge Racer was actually made by Nintendo in-house. Let's do some fast forwarding. Ridge Racer is one of the only racing game franchises I can play where I kind of need to play it first person, otherwise I have trouble judging corners. It's really weird because most of the time when I play a racing game, I prefer this camera angle that you're seeing right here. You know, behind the back, third person camera. But Ridge Racer is, like, for me, Ridge Racer is a first-person bumper cam game. It just helps with my judging of the entering and exiting of corners in this game because of how this game handles drifting. Yeah, this game's really cool. It's just a really solid, like, classic Ridge Racer game. It's more in line with the first 3 Ridge Racers, I think. Like, it's got more in common with, like, the early Ridge Racers rather than a Ridge Racer Type 4, which was doing a little bit more with its presentation. But this is just straight up one of the best racing games on the N64. Yeah. Okay, where's it gonna go? Well, I do like Ridge Racer 64 quite a lot. But I don't think it's as good as Perfect Dark, even with its horrible performance. Hang on. There we go. So we're going to put Ridge Racer 64 right here. Ridge Racer 64 is going there. Okay. So it's our new number 5. Okay, next game. What is it? It's that one. Okay. Do I not have the box art? I do have the box art. Here it is. Next game for the 2000 category. Final Fantasy IX. This is a huge one. I'm not typically a Final Fantasy guy. But Final Fantasy IX is really cool. It's stylistically, I think it's one of the most appealing Final Fantasy games. I don't know. I'm just not into the whole sci-fi fantasy thing that Final Fantasy seems to be doing exclusively these days. Well, I suppose not exclusively anymore. They've kind of started going back in the direction of pure fantasy. There was definitely for a long time there, they were doing like a mix of sci-fi and fantasy at the same time. But they seemed that last one seemed to be just full fantasy. But yeah, I'm just not typically a Final Fantasy guy. The number of Final Fantasy games that I like, I can count on one hand, and that's. I like 7, I like 8, I like 9, and I like Tactics Advance. And that's it. That's the 4 Final Fantasy games I like. And 9 is pretty special. Alright, let's just bring up a trailer or something on YouTube. Come on now. Let's get some gameplay. Why is it so hard to find certain kinds of videos on YouTube these days? Here we go. This'll do. Thank you for Waroof EX for this footage. So it's very like the other Final Fantasies from this generation. It's like a bit like 7 and 8, more like 8 than 7 though, where it's all pre-rendered backgrounds and polygonal characters running around the pre-rendered backgrounds, and there's no voice acting. All the dialogue is text boxes. And it's just incredibly charming. The whole game just has an incredibly charming aesthetic to it, and it's just... I am terrified. Terrified if Square Enix decides to remake this game, that they're going to completely screw up the aesthetic and the art style. Because apparently when they were making this game, a huge inspiration for the game's art style was apparently Jim Henson stuff. Like the dev team were looking at a bunch of like Jim Henson films, like The Dark Crystal and Labyrinth, for their inspiration on how, you know, to make the game look, for how they wanted the game to look. And I think it's kind of awesome. Let's fast forward a bit. I can definitely see the Dark Crystal in inspiration for sure. Although this game did have a bunch of weird bullshit where they intentionally made the game extremely difficult in certain ways to try and encourage people to buy strategy guides, which is true. That's because this was at a time when there was a lot of money in strategy guides. If you could convince a lot of people to buy a strategy guide for a new game, that's a significant, you know, that's a significant amount of money on the table there. And so this is when I think Square maybe went a little bit too far and intentionally made the game really really difficult in some ways to mess with people and force them to buy a guide, which there have been fan patches to make the game fairer. So yeah, I believe fan patches for both the PlayStation 1 version and the Steam version, I believe. There are straight up patches that will rebalance the game slightly to make it less unbelievably fucked. Let's fast forward a bit. That's this part of the game. Let's fast forward a bit. And of course, this was from the era of Final Fantasy when they had just had those incredibly gorgeous, like, full motion videos. It was always a treat when you got to a point in the game where the game would cut to an FMV because you knew some serious shit was about to happen. There we go. Where is it? Here? Oh, here we go, yeah. Stuff like this was so cool back then. Oh, Vivi. Best character. Best character in the game, Vivi. Really tragic game, actually. I'm thinking about it. The plot of this game is really fucking sad. Because you look at it and it's like, oh, it's all funny and whimsical and it's like weird little creatures and then it's like you play through the game and it's really like dark and existential. So the whole point of the game is like about death. It's about, you know, facing down your own like death and trying to do the best you can with the life you've got, because you can't escape death and it will eventually come for you. And so, you know, life is about doing as much as you can while you still can, and It's really, really dark for a kid's game. But yeah, really awesome stuff. Anyway, where are we going to put it? Where are we going to put Final Fantasy IX? Final Fantasy IX is, like I said, a fantastic game. It's it might actually be the best PlayStation Final Fantasy game. I think it's better than Ridge Racer 64. I think it's better than Perfect Dark. I would say it's a superior RPG to Skies of Arcadia. Even with the weird, like, balancing stuff to try and force people to buy guides, even with that, I think it's a better RPG than Skies of Arcadia. It's better than Colin McRae Rally 2. I think it's better than The Sims. So it is our new number 1. There we go. Okay. On to the next game. So the next game... Oh, over here. Thank you. Is a game that I'm guessing no one remembers, because why would you, unless you're a special kind of nerd, and that is Star Trek Klingon Academy. This game was awesome. I really, really liked Star Trek Klingon Academy, and I still have my boxed copy right here. Big box PC game by 14 Degrees East and Interplay. This is a Star Trek Klingon Academy. So there was a game several years before this one called Starfleet Academy, which is exactly what it sounds like. You're basically you're playing a character who's a member of, like, Starfleet from the Star Trek universe, right? And you're training to control a Federation starship. And that game's pretty good. But this sequel is really awesome, because funny thing is, a lot of Star Trek fans don't want to control the Enterprise. A lot of Star Trek fans want to blow up the Enterprise. They want to control a Klingon bird of prey and blow the shit out of that thing. And this is the game that lets you do that if you want. And so it's exactly the same concept, except you are a Klingon cadet that is training to fly a Klingon ship. And so it's pretty much the same gameplay. It's a different kind of space sim, because yes, it's a space sim like a Wing Commander or a Free Space or an X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, like that kind of game. But instead of controlling a little fighter that zips in and out, you know, you are controlling a capital ship. You are controlling a gigantic starship with full weapons banks and subsystems and a crew. You got to keep your crew alive. Because if too many of your crew die in the fight, then systems don't get repaired as quickly. And you've got to manage your weapons. You've got to manage your shields. You've got to manage your auxiliary power. It's really cool. If you were ever like a serious Star Trek nerd, this game's really rad. Also, it had a really good like damage system for the time. So the image you're seeing on the box is quite accurate. Is quite an accurate representation of how fights would go. Sometimes you could blow bits off of ships. You could blow holes straight through ships. Sometimes, if you aimed, you put enough damage into a single spot, you could blow a hole straight through the ship's hull, and it's awesome. It looked great. It looked great for the era. It's such a really cool and unique concept for a space sim. I don't think really anyone else has tried to replicate since. The full-size capital ship space sim. Also, it had fully produced FMV cutscenes with actors from the movies. So they straight up shot the cutscenes like it was an episode of the show, or like a, you know, like one of the movies. Like I think it's Kang. It's a Klingon commander called Kang, who was, I believe, in Undiscovered Country. He comes back for this game, and he does a bunch of on-screen FMV stuff for this game. It's so cool. It's such a cool game. Also, can you guess how many discs this game has? Go on. Guess. How many discs do you think a game like this might have? 2 discs, I hear you say? 3 discs. No more than 4 discs, surely. This game came on a grand total of 6 discs. This was a huge game, and I think it's primarily because of all the FMV. There's a lot of FMV in this game, so I think that's what the majority of the disc space is for. And so it took a really long time to install the game, but once you were installed, you were away, man. It was so cool. Okay. So where... Okay, actually, no, let's see if I can find some gameplay of it. Hang on. Klingon Academy gameplay. Oh my god, can I find decent Klingon Academy gameplay? No, all of the footage is from the in-game cutscenes, which are good, but I want to see gameplay. Okay. Here we go. Here's some gameplay for you.
Order escorts to attack my target. Secondary weapon, damage, sir.
And it doesn't look like much, I understand. It looks kind of slow and awkward, and it looks a little bit, you know, not super exciting. Because remember, you're flying a capital ship, so it's not like you can fly fast. You're kind of moving slowly and turning slowly. But I thought it was really cool, and especially as like a Star Trek fan. And you can see as you do like hull damage to like enemy ships, you can blow holes. You can blow holes in the hull, and it looks so good. Oh, this was so cool. This was so cool. I loved this game so much. It's kind of hard to get running on modern operating systems. I'm assuming this person is running some kind of patch to get this running, because going by the display resolution they're playing this at, they're probably playing it on a modern operating system. I should try and get this game running again, because it's so cool. If you're a Star Trek fan, this is incredibly cool. Oh my god.
Believes that defeat is inevitable. Within 6 months, we may have no choice but to surrender.
Really awkward looking explosion there. Yeah, you kind of have to be a Star Trek fan, though. I think this game probably has very limited appeal. Yeah. 5 discs or more is where disc count goes from like understandable to just ridiculous. Yeah, I totally agree. But yeah, this game's cool as hell. If you're a Star Trek fan, this game is cool as hell. If you're not a Star Trek fan, it's kind of slow and awkward and weird and hard to understand, but oh well. I think this is going to be where subjectivity takes over here because, like I said, this game is only really special if you're a Star Trek fan. So if you're not a Star Trek fan, you're probably not going to agree with where I put this. I would take Klingon Academy over Ridge Racer 64. I would take Klingon Academy over Perfect Dark. I would take Klingon Academy over Skies of Arcadia. I would take it over Colin McRae Rally 2, but I would not take it over The Sims. There we go. So we have a new... Oh, it's nothing like FTL. It's nothing like FTL. FTL, you're looking at a cross section of a ship, and you can see all the different rooms, and you're ordering crew around the rooms. This in Klingon Academy, you have direct control of the starship, like it was a flight sim, and you're issuing orders to the crew via like sub menus. So it would be like, how do I explain this? So like to change speed, you wouldn't like push a throttle, you would hit 1 to activate that, because you're meant to be playing the captain, right? So really you shouldn't actually have direct control over the ship if you're the captain, but they got to give you some direct control, otherwise the game wouldn't be easy to play. But to change speed, you wouldn't directly change the speed by moving the throttle. You change speed by hitting 1 on the keyboard, and then it will give you an option of quarter impulse, half impulse, 3/4 impulse, full impulse, or reverse impulse. You know, so you would go 3 for half impulse, for example. And half impulse is like a different speed for each ship, because each ship has a different top speed. So the game kind of requires you to get used to each individual ship. And like some ships are quite fast, but have terrible shields. Some ships have like really good shields and like tons of weapons, but they move like a brick, and that makes you a sitting duck for enemy ships because you can't get out of the way of their weapons. So instead of avoiding weapons, it's up to you to understand, okay, my starboard shields are down to 15%, but my port shields are still most of the way up. So I got to roll the ship to make sure that the shields that are stronger on this side of the ship are facing the enemy that's coming at me. So it's less about getting out of the way of incoming shots and like managing your shields, managing your repair crews, while you're also trying to steer the ship in real time. Because it's a Klingon game, you can go to cloak, because Klingon ships have a cloak. Well, not all of them. A lot of Klingon ships have a cloaking ability that lets you, temporarily disappear from sight. Basically, you sort of turn invisible, sort of, not 100% invisible. There's like a slight shimmer where you are that's hard to see, but you are effectively invisible. But that comes with a risk, because if the enemy do see you, you don't have your shields up, because that's the trade-off of using a cloaking device, is that it uses so much power, it basically drains all of your shields. So you have to pick when to use certain systems and certain abilities, and it's really cool. Like I said, you've got to kind of be into Star Trek and the minutiae of Star Trek and the fantasy of running a starship in that universe to really get the most out of this game, which means it's not going to be a game for everyone. But it's really cool. If you're willing to learn the systems, it's really cool. And of course, if you can get it running on modern Windows as well. Okay, Next game. Next game. Let's have a look. Image. Man, we've been streaming for an hour. We've barely done anything. Oh my God, we're going to be here forever. Okay, we've got to start picking up some speed. I'm going to pick up some speed, and we will slow down for the games that really deserve it. How about that? Okay, Pokemon Crystal. Now, this is cheating slightly. Pokemon Crystal is cheating slightly because Pokemon Crystal is really just an updated re-release of a game that came out in 1999. So, does this version qualify for 2000? Really? Who can say? Pokemon Crystal is the best version of my favorite generation, which is Gen 2. I'm a Gen 2 guy. Gen 2 is my favorite generation. It's such a massive improvement over Gen 1. Like, not a single, like, there hasn't been a single. Okay. Okay. Goodbye, Electric Sheep. Yeah, I'm a Gen 2 guy. So, like, Gen 2 introduces a day-night cycle, introduces a real-time clock, introduces the mobile phone, which lets you stay in contact with trainers. You can go back and fight them again. Gen 2 has the second world map, for people who forgot that. It's like you finish the game, you fight the Elite Four, you become the Pokemon champion, but the game is only half done. You simply unlock the second world map at that point. It's crazy. It's like mind-blowing stuff. As someone who played through the entirety of Pokemon Blue, Crystal was such a massive, massive, massive improvement over that first gen. It's and it made full. It took full advantage of the Game Boy Color, unlike the Gen 1 games, which didn't really. Yeah, Pokemon Crystal was a Game Boy Color game, you know, and it looked really good because of it. Well, it looked really good for the time. I think Crystal remains my favorite Pokemon game to this day. To this day, nothing for me has bested Crystal. This was also the first Pokemon game that let you play as a girl. I also remember that as well. It's the first one that let you choose between a boy and a girl at the start. Because Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow, Gold, and Silver only let you play as a guy, whereas this was the first one to let you choose boy or girl at the start of the game, which is important. Okay, I'm not going to bother with gameplay for this one because it's classic Pokemon. Everyone knows what classic Game Boy Pokemon looks like. It's not exactly, unknown. So I would take Pokemon Crystal over Ridge Racer 64. I would take it over Perfect Dark. I would take it over Skies of Arcadia. I would take it over Colin McRae 2. I would not take it over Klingon Academy. There we go. It's one of the only Pokemon games I actually like. Okay. Next game. The next game we're going to look at is another Dreamcast game that came out in 2000, and it's Phantasy Star Online. Phantasy Star Online is an extremely important game. It's one of the very first online console games. It's and I mean like proper online console game. Not just one of these console games that lets you like access a server or, view a web page It's a proper, fully online multiplayer RPG, and it was incredible for its time. Let me just... oh, come on now. Here we go. There we go. Some footage from longplays.org. Cool. So I had this game for Dreamcast. It was the game I bought with my Dreamcast when I got one. Looks like this is coming off of real hardware as well, based by the quality of the video, which is cool. So the concept of Phantasy Star Online is humans have left Earth and they're trying to find a new home, basically. You're on a colony ship that's on the way to a new planet to colonize, and you're the second ship to reach it. So there was an advanced ship that got there first to set up like all the all of the infrastructure, you know, like build buildings, put down roads, set up power generators, things like that, you know, all the infrastructure. And then Pioneer 2, which is your ship, which has like most of the population destined for this colony, is coming behind. But something happened to the settlement as you enter orbit, and basically the story of the game is you've got to try and find out what happened to the crew of Pioneer 1. And it's a really interesting mystery. The game is not particularly story heavy. Really, the most amount of story in this game is from this starting cutscene. The rest of the game just doesn't really keep up in terms of story. It's kind of like you talk to like NPCs occasionally and they'll have a little bit of information, but this is really the only big story dump in the entire game, is this intro cutscene, and it sets up the plot, sets up the mystery. This game has a fantastic soundtrack, by the way. Do you like listening to old video game soundtracks? Phantasy Star Online is a good pick. So I played this game online a little bit on my Dreamcast. Vast majority of the time I just played single player because unfortunately I did not have unfettered access to the internet when I was 13 for reasons you can probably understand, right? Why wouldn't parents allow their children like complete unfettered access to an internet connection when they were 13? I wonder why. But it also meant that I wasn't able to hook up my Dreamcast as often as I wanted to. But I did spend at least a few hours playing this game online back then. Let's fast forward. So you pick a class at the start. Different classes are good at different things. Humans are melee specialists. Numans, or elves, as what they are. They're elves, but in the Phantasy Star universe, they're called Numans. So you've got humans and Numans. Numans are like they specialize in magic, and then you have robots, which specialize in guns and ranged combat. Humans can do magic, but it's not as strong. Numans can do close combat, but it's not as strong. and robots are completely incapable of using magic in this game, but it's up to you to choose what kind of character you want to build. The game kind of has a lot in common, I guess, with Diablo. If you think of it as 3D third-person Diablo, because it's not an MMO. It's not like a single server where everyone plays. You're loading up a private instance where you and up to 3 other people can play together, and you run missions. Basically, you pick up missions from the ship, and you beam down to the planet, and you just run the mission. And the environments in this game are just like a series of small open areas connected by corridors. So, so it could run better on a console. Let's fast forward a bit. So yeah, you go to the teleport on the ship. It takes you down to the surface. And in this mission, you've got to escort an NPC to somewhere in the environment. And the NPCs will fight alongside you, but you can't rely on them. You've got to kind of do most of the fighting yourself. This is basically I think this person's just playing single player. They're not playing online. Which you can still do. You can still play this game online if you know how. If you know how to get this game to connect to fan servers, you can still play this game online, which is really cool. See if we can. Where's the first boss? Can we get to the first boss? Where's the dragon? This game has a dragon boss that's kind of cool, but actually not very hard. I can't find it. It's buried somewhere in the middle of this 11-hour video, and so I don't know if I'll be able to pinpoint it, but there are a bunch of different environments. There's like a forest environment, there's a cave environment, there's a volcano environment. It's stylistically really unique in a way that, I don't know, like, I've never been able to get into the second game. Phantasy Star Online 2 has been around for a long time now, and I've never really been able to get into that game. That game just doesn't give me the same feeling that this first game did. And so I do find myself going back to this original game every couple of years or so, just to get that hit, just to get that feeling, that familiar feeling that nothing else quite replicates. Yeah, this game was really special. Anyway, where are we going to put it on the list? Phantasy Star Online did eventually get ported to other platforms as well. I believe it came out for PC, GameCube, and Xbox. I do have I've got a GameCube copy right here. Hang on. Yeah, here we go. There's my GameCube copy. So I've got that. Although it's quite easy to boot this game up on an emulator or even get the PC version working still, which is cool. However, installing the PC version of Phantasy Star Online will cause your operating system to panic and throw up a bunch of virus alerts, because apparently there are some versions of the PC version of Phantasy Star Online that have been hacked to include a bunch of viruses. So you've got to be careful where you source your PC version if that's the version you choose to try and play. Okay, Phantasy Star Online. Where are you going? I think you're better than Ridge Racer 64. I'd take you over Perfect Dark. You're better than Scars of Arcadia. But I don't think you're as good as Colin McRae Rally 2. So you're our new number 8. No, sorry, number 6. Number 6. Going by the wrong column there. All right, we've got to pick up some speed because we are going way too slow. Right, next game. All right, we are actually going to pick up speed now. So if you're hoping that I was going to show you gameplay for every single game, unfortunately, that's not going to be the case because I don't want to be here for the next 72 hours. Okay, next game, Jet Set Radio. Classic game, cool game for the Dreamcast. Very stylish, very cool, kind of plays like a dog. They eventually did put it out on PC years and years and years and years later. They are apparently working on a new Jet Set Radio. I don't know if it's a remake of the original or if it's just a sequel. But yeah, apparently Sega is in fact working on a new Jet Set Radio again, which we shall see. We shall see how that turns out, shall we? I'm not entirely convinced a new Jet Set Radio is going to be any good, but we can hope. Jet Set Radio, I like Jet Set Radio more than Ridge Racer 64. I think it's better than Perfect Dark. I'd take it over Scars of Arcadia, but I wouldn't take it over Phantasy Star Online. Oh my god. So it's our new number 7. I'm just going to, hang on. Do this. Okay. Next game. Yeah, we're trucking now. We're going to have to pick up some speed. Majora's Mask for the N64. Majora's Mask is a game that is what can I say about Majora's Mask that hasn't already been said about Majora's Mask? This game is cool as hell. It's got incredible vibes. This game has unbelievably like creepy vibes. And it's not just because of the giant moon in the sky. Majora's Mask is one of the most unique and interesting and difficult to go back to Zelda games. Stylistically, this game is incredible. There's a reason that it's, that people still talk about it to this day. It just does stuff that Zelda games haven't done since. And it's unique, Wipeout Omega Collection. What is Wipeout? Hang on, let me just quickly look that up. If it's a collection, I don't know if it would, because I don't think collections apply. I think it's got to be a standalone title for it to qualify. Mega Collection remasters. Oh, so that's just Wipeout HD. Okay, it's just Wipeout HD with Fury. I mean, yeah, I mean, that will qualify, but it qualifies under the title of Wipeout HD. So yes, we will be talking about Wipeout HD at some point when we get there. But yeah, I'm guessing Omega Collection just must be what they just called it in North America. Because Wipeout HD plus Wipeout HD Fury is just called Wipeout HD Fury here in Europe. Oh wait, no, it's a PS4 game. It's a PS4 game. I totally misunderstood with this. Okay, what is this? Are they doing... Did they do remasters of Wipeout HD? I don't know what this is. I've been completely sidetracked. Huh. I didn't know this existed. They remastered Wipeout HD. What the fuck? So no, it won't qualify because I'm limiting this list to games that I have played, and I have not played Wipeout Omega Collection. So no, this would not qualify. But that's fascinating. I did not know they remastered Wipeout HD. That's a new one to me. Okay, cool. Sorry for the confusion there. But put it this way, I will be putting Wipeout HD on this list, but since I haven't played Omega Collection, I will not be putting Omega Collection on the list. Anyway, back to Majora's Mask. Got sidetracked there for a second. Yeah, Majora's Mask, really cool, really interesting. A very, very unique Zelda game in terms of its aesthetics, and also there's the whole time limit aspect. You have a very limited amount of time to complete the objectives. It's a very oppressive game. You constantly feel the weight of time on your back the whole time you play Majora's Mask. It's incredibly... Majora's Mask is probably the most player unfriendly Zelda game ever made, and that's intentional. Like the developers wanted you to feel extremely pressured and uncomfortable at all times while playing this game. It's incredible. I love everything about it except playing it, which is a really weird thing to say for a game that I'm going to put on a best of list. I've never actually finished Majora's Mask, if you can believe that. I just get so stressed out with the time limit stuff that I end up like not going back to it at some point. And I've tried multiple times to try and play through Majora's Mask, but I've never been able to make it all the way through. And I feel like that's something I need to correct at some point. Because stylistically, this game is incredible. I think it's better than Ridge 64. It's better than Perfect Dark. It's better than Arcadia. It's better than Colin McRae Rally. I think... It's better than Pokemon Crystal. It's better than Star Trek. It's better than The Sims, but it's not as good as Final Fantasy IX. So it goes here. It's our new number 2. Okay, next game. Resident Evil Code Veronica. One of my favourite Resident Evil games. This game is excellent. It was... my second favourite Resident Evil game up until a few years ago, but then I played Resident Evil 4 all the way through for the first time, and then it got downgraded to my third favourite because Resident Evil 4 is now my new second favourite. But Code Veronica is one of the best classic Resident Evil games. And when I say classic Resident Evil game, I'm of course talking about the fixed camera era of Resident Evil. Code Veronica it's not pre-rendered backgrounds. It's a fully 3D environment, but the camera is still kind of locked. Mostly you can't really control the camera. The camera it will kind of pivot and point around the room to look at you. And sometimes, depending on the location in the game, will follow the player through an environment, but most of the time the camera is locked, just like the other classic Resident Evil games. Panzer Dragoon. Would I include Panzer Dragoon in my list? So here's the thing. Only one Panzer Dragoon game, new Panzer Dragoon game, came out in the time, in the era in which we're ranking Auto for the Xbox. And don't worry, Auto is going on this list. The Unity remakes of 1 and 2 will not be going on this list. That the Unity remake of 1 is a terrible, terrible game. I hate the Unity remakes of Panzer Dragoon. As far as I'm concerned, there are 4 Panzer Dragoon games. They are Panzer Dragoon, Zwei, Saga, and Auto, and nothing after Auto exists. Wait, are you telling me they're re-releasing the trilogy? Is that? Hang on. Did I also miss something? Hang on. Don't tell me I missed something. No, it's just listing. Okay, no, okay. All right, I didn't accidentally miss some re-release trilogy. That's good. That's good. I would kick myself for that because I like to call myself a Panzer Dragoon fan. So let's see. Code Veronica is really cool. It is one of the better classic Resident Evil games. It's worth playing even now still. Originally meant to be Resident Evil 3. Code Veronica was originally going to be Resident Evil 3. But then Capcom got cold feet because they didn't like the idea of releasing a flagship release on a failing platform, because at the time Code Veronica was still a Dreamcast exclusive. And Capcom were like, do we really want to put out a big flagship release on a platform that's dying? No, not really. What if we took the 3 off of Code Veronica and gave it to this spin-off game over here on the PlayStation? And so yeah, Nemesis was never meant to be Resident Evil 3. That was meant to be a spin-off game. But unfortunately, what happened to the Dreamcast happened and Capcom got cold feet. And then Code Veronica became the spin-off game. A superior game to Nemesis. Fuck Nemesis. It's my least favourite classic Resident Evil game. If we're talking about classic Resident Evil, it goes 1, Code Veronica, 2, Remake, 0, Nemesis. That's my ranking of classic Resident Evils there for you, right there. So where are we putting Code Veronica on the list? I like it better than Ridge Racer 64. I like it more than Jet Set Radio. It's better than Colin McRae Rally 2. I'd take it over Pokemon Crystal. I'd take it over Klingon Academy. I'd take it over The Sims, but I would not take it over Majora's Mask. So it's our new number 3. Oh yeah, Code Veronica did eventually get ported to the PlayStation 2 and GameCube. With some minor additions. Some people still prefer the Dreamcast original because some people don't like the changes they made to the PS2 and GameCube versions. I have the GameCube version right here. The European box art for this game is terrible. It's just a giant close-up of Claire Redfield's face. It's terrible. It's one of the worst box arts in Resident Evil history. It's terrible. But the game is great. Anyway. Moving on to the next game in 2000. Spyro Year of the Dragon. This is Spyro 3. This is the last game in the classic PlayStation 1 Spyro trilogy. It is extremely... It's a really over the top game. You can clearly tell Insomniac threw everything at the wall when making this game. It's like this is Insomniac's big send off to the PlayStation 1 platform. Just throw everything in there. Let's throw tower defense missions. Let's throw different playable characters, skateboarding. Fuck it, put it all in. It is a giant like smorgasbord of different types of like gameplay, and it doesn't all work. There are a lot of parts of Year of the Dragon that are kind of not great, but it's such a interesting game. And the good parts of Spyro 3 are still good ass Spyro, levels. Not everyone is a fan of the skateboarding. I think the skateboarding in Spyro Year of the Dragon is pretty good. But, not everyone's a fan. Most people consider this game to be the second best Spyro game of the classic trilogy. Most people prefer 2 over 3. I'm a 3 guy. I prefer 3. But all 3 games are excellent early 3D platformers. I would take Spyro over Crash Bandicoot any day. Spyro Year of the Dragon, I would personally... It's better than Ridge Racer 64. It's better than Perfect Dark. It's better than Skies of Arcadia. It's better than Jet Set Radio. It's not as good as Phantasy Star Online. There we go. That's my take. Okay. Next game. This is another obscure one. Not everyone's going to remember this one. It's an adventure game. It is Escape from Monkey Island, which is the last LucasArts Monkey Island game. They would not make a new Monkey Island game for over a decade. Eventually Telltale would pick up the franchise with the Tales from Monkey Island series, which were pretty good. Escape is a really cool but flawed game. Escape uses the same 3D graphics engine as Grim Fandango. Grim Fandango was the adventure game that LucasArts put out before this one, and it uses the same 3D engine from that game. But a little bit updated. It looks a little bit nicer. Character models have a few more polygons. And it's the last classic Monkey Island game. So you've got Monkey Island, or rather Secret of Monkey Island, which is an all-time classic adventure game. Monkey Island, is it LeChuck? Is it LeChuck's Revenge? The second one? Yeah, Monkey Island 2, LeChuck's Revenge, which I'm personally not a huge fan of. I think Monkey Island 2 has like a shit ton of really bullshit puzzles, like really bad puzzles in Monkey Island 2. Like there's some bullshit in Monkey Island 2, you know, and I play a lot of adventure games, so I'm very used to dealing with bullshit puzzles. But man, Monkey Island 2 has got some fuckers, some real fuckers. Then there's Curse of Monkey Island, which is my personal favourite of the entire series still to this day. And then Monkey Island 4, which is Escape from Monkey Island. It's a cool game. It's a cool... Oh, was this the very last adventure? It was the last adventure game, wasn't it, from LucasArts? This was their last one. Yeah, so this was their... Yeah, it's a cool game. If you like the Monkey Island games, Escape is... I would say it's definitely in the upper half of the franchise. There are definitely worse games than Escape. I'm going to put Escape right here below Ridge Racer 64. There we go. And it also got a PS2 port, which is weird. It was at a time when it was really weird to see adventure games on consoles. So seeing this game come out on PS2 was a bit crazy at the time, at least to me. Okay, next game. Uh-oh, where's it gone? Here it is. It's another Star Trek game. Star Trek Voyager Elite Force. Let's see, Star Trek Voyager Elite Force is a first-person shooter set in the Star Trek Voyager universe. It is not considered canon. I don't think it's considered canon. Some of the games are, some of the games aren't. I don't think Elite Force is considered canon. But it's a first-person shooter, and it uses the Quake 3 engine, and which at the time in 2000 was still a pretty new engine. You know, it still looked pretty awesome. And so the main reason I liked Elite Force was not the shooting. It was more or less an excuse to walk around a Star Trek ship in first person with like a decent level of detail, you know, more nerd shit. But the single player campaign was in general pretty good as well. Also like genuinely scary at points as well. Genuinely scary. There's something really unnerving about the Borg missions in this game, where you have to like walk around the inside of a Borg ship. And if you're not familiar with Star Trek stuff and you're not familiar with the Borg is a race from this era of Star Trek that are meant to be really fucking scary because they are this like irresistible force, you know. They're like a race of half biological, half machine beings that have a hive mind. So they don't think for themselves. They all share their thoughts, and they all make decisions as one. The entire race makes decisions as one entity. And they are extremely technologically advanced, and they adapt very quickly. So if you try and fight them, you might knock off one or two of them, and then as they die, they're gathering data on like the weapons that you're using to kill them, and then they will just like adapt on the fly and then make themselves impervious to the weapons that you're using. And so it's really fucked up in this game when it's the whole point is it's a first person shooter. You're shooting the enemies, right? You're used to enemies dying when you shoot them. And so you have to be really careful when you are in the Borg missions, because you can only realistically use a weapon of yours once or twice, because you knock off 2 Borg drones with, your basic weapon, and then all of a sudden that weapon's no longer effective. You have to change to a different weapon, and then very quickly that weapon becomes no longer effective, and you have to keep changing weapons to weapons that they haven't adapted to keep killing them. At some point the game does just straight up give you like a super weapon that lets you kill the Borg in a way that prevents them from adapting, but until you get that weapon, the Borg missions are really scary. Like actual horror. Like they just keep coming at you. Like they don't run, they just walk. They walk like a standard walking pace, just at you, and you can't stop them. You can't down them. They just soak up your hits and they keep coming after a certain amount of time. And it's like, oh shit. So you've got to kind of like just avoid enemies for a while, and it's genuinely really like effective. But where would I put it though? I would take it over Escape from Monkey Island. I would not take it over Ridge Racer 64. So there we go. Star Trek Voyager Elite Force by Raven Software. Okay, next game. It's another PC game. Another obscure PC game coming up. This one is Tachyon the Fringe by Nova Logic. I've got a copy of it right here. This is my original copy from back in the day. Tachyon the Fringe is a really interesting space sim. So it's a more traditional space sim, like a Wing Commander or a Free Space, but it's got a lot more story to it. And that's not. I mean, other space sims have story, but this is like a much more player-focused story. Whereas in a lot of space sims, like a lot of story-heavy space sims, like the story is happening around you, and you're just playing a part in a greater in like a greater narrative, Whereas in Tachyon the Fringe, your pilot, the guy you're playing as, is the main character of the story, and they have a lot of voice acting. The main character is voiced by Bruce Campbell of Evil Dead fame, and so very charismatic, very good at talking. Bruce Campbell has the gift of the gab. That is a man who can just talk, and you want to listen to every word he says. He's just got that natural charisma that you need for a role like that. And so it's really cool. So the basically the plot of the game is you get framed. You get framed for a terrorist attack. You're a freelance pilot. You're taking jobs from different corporations and governments and private people to do stuff. Standard space sim stuff. Go to this sector and kill some pirates. Escort this freighter. Take out this minefield. Standard space sim stuff. But at some point you take a mission from a shady individual, and it's like you have to deliver. I think you have to deliver medical supplies to a hospital. And it turns out the medical supplies you're delivering aren't actually medical supplies, it's a bomb. And unfortunately, you get basically framed for it because you do deliver the bomb, even though you don't know it's a bomb. You think it's medical supplies, and then the bomb goes up and it blows up the hospital and everyone in it. And you are straight up accused of mass murder and terrorism for blowing up this hospital. But there's no hard evidence to prove that you planned it. like your story is just plausible enough that you kind of escape the death penalty. And in this universe, the one thing, like the one step below death penalty is banishment. And so you get banished from the soul system. You get banished to an area of space known as the Fringe. And in the Fringe is like the Fringe is completely like a lawless part of space that's run by like shady corporations and pirate groups. And so you have to kind of eke out a living out there. And part of the story of the game is you figuring out who did this to you, who framed you, who got you, who got you banished from your home. And it's it's kind of an interesting story. It's like I said, the voice acting is really good. Bruce Campbell does an incredible job as the protagonist, and it's a genuinely decent little like space sim with a genuinely interesting story. At one point, the story branches into two paths. You can either join a independent colony that has split off from Earth and is like, managing their own systems. You can like help them, or you can join up with a giant corporation called Galspan, who is trying to move in to the colony's territory in order to take their resources. So it's like, are you a corpo or are you with the, separatists? And it's a really interesting story. And so I like Tachyon the Fringe. Unfortunately, the game has some pretty bad bugs. There's a save game bug. If you play missions in a specific order, for some reason the game will fail to maintain your save. It's unless you play missions in a certain order. You have to play, when you get to a certain point in the game, you have to make sure you play the missions in a certain order, otherwise the game straight up just does not save your progress, and it's really fucked up. I wonder if the Steam version has a fix for that, or if that still has that bug. Because you can straight up try and manual save as well. There's like a save option on the main screen where you can, hit save progress. But nothing happens. It doesn't actually make the save file. It's a really, really bad bug. I would take it over Escape from Monkey Island. I would take it over Voyager. I would take it over Ridge Racer 64. I would not take it over Perfect Dark. So it goes here. Tachyon the Fringe. A really neat but somewhat forgotten space sim. Starlancer. No, I've never played Starlancer, but I did play the sequel, Freelancer. Yeah, that game. So yeah, Freelancer is a sequel to Starlancer. It's set in the same universe, I believe. Freelancer will be on this list. I love Freelancer. Okay. Next game. The next game we'll rank is another PlayStation 1 game. This game is called, little obscure late PlayStation 1 game called Chase the Express. Now, if you've never heard of Chase the Express, you are missing out. Whoops. Chase the Express is Chase the Express, basically somebody looked at Resident Evil and Metal Gear Solid and said, what if we combine? Chase the Express is like an espionage, like action type of game. It's got a similar kind of plot as like a Metal Gear Solid. But it's got kind of like Resident Evil, like classic Resident Evil gameplay. So it's like pre-rendered backgrounds, tank controls. but you're playing a special operative who's got to take over a train. Basically, okay, so the plot of the game is terrorists have taken over a bullet train traveling from is it Moscow? Is it Moscow to Paris? And it's a non-stop bullet train. And they've taken some important politicians captive on this train. And so you get dropped off onto the roof of the train by a helicopter, and you've got to basically very slowly work your way along this giant train to the front, you know, taking out the terrorists as you go. Think of it as a combination of like Metal Gear. The story is a combination of like Metal Gear Solid 1 and Die Hard. But instead of, you know, Shadow Moses or the Nakatomi Plaza, it's this big bullet train. And it's really cool. It's got great production values. For a PlayStation 1 game, it's got excellent production values. It was made by a company called Sugar and Rockets. I don't know what they went on to try, what they went on to make, if anything, after this. But Chase the Express is a really, really cool game. It was called something else in North America. What was it called? Hang on, let me go. It was. I want to say the North American title for the game is like really bad. It's like a really generic title. Ah, yes. Chase the Express in North America was retitled to Covert Ops Nuclear Dawn. That's the North American title for this game. Covert Ops : Nuclear Dawn, which is nowhere near as cool a name as Chase the Express. Chase the Express, superior name. Chase the Express. I like Chase the Express more than Escape from Monkey Island. I like it more than Elite Force. I would take it over Ridge Racer 64. I would take it over Tacky on the Fringe. I'd take it over Perfect Dark. I wouldn't take it over Skies of Arcadia. There we go. That's a cool game. That's a really cool, like, late PS1 game. If you like classic Resident Evil, you should give Chase the Express a shot. All right. Got to keep moving. We are nearly 2 hours in, and I haven't finished 2000. Oh my god. This is bad. This is really bad. I may have bitten off more than I can chew. I'm so sorry. I thought this would go a lot faster, but it's not. It's taking forever. Okay, next game. In Cold Blood. I can't find the image. Where's the image gone? Uh-oh. Did I not? Hang on. Did I not prepare an image in time? I don't think I did. I'm very silly. There we go. In Cold Blood. So Ridge Racer Type 4. Ridge Racer Type 4 came out in 1999. That's not a 2000 game. Yeah, that's 99. That's not 2000. So it doesn't qualify, unfortunately. I had that thought as well when I was preparing this list. I didn't. I thought Type 4 was 2000, but no. I'm going to take a very quick break. I will be gone for 2 minutes. If you will just hold on just for now. Back in a mo. Right, sorry about that. Sorry for the wait. Where were we? In Cold Blood. In Cold Blood is one of these games that is... I really like it, but I like it for the concept rather than for how it plays. In Cold Blood is it's a cyberpunk it's a cyberpunk spy story, basically. But it kind of plays like a combination of a Resident Evil game and an adventure game. It's really unique. So it's like Resident Evil or Chase the Express. It's fixed camera, pre-rendered backgrounds. But you're, instead of, you know, running around shooting enemies everywhere, you're playing as a spy. And as this spy, you can run around environments. You don't have to shoot everyone. You can actually avoid shooting like a lot if you're good at stealth. If you don't blow your cover, you don't necessarily have to shoot anyone. And so that's a big part of the game is you're this little spy and you're doing spy shit. You're trying to locate people. You're trying to find out information. You're trying to infiltrate facilities. And it's neat. It's neat as long as you don't have to start engaging in combat. The part of this game that maybe is maybe not so great is the combat. The combat in Cold Blood just straight up sucks. It's bad combat. It's really bad combat. It's maybe some of the worst fixed camera combat of its type anywhere. It's awful, which puts a lot of pressure on you to not blow your cover. And it can be frustrating if you're doing really well and you're making it through an environment, your cover's not blown, no one has seen through your disguise, you know, and then all of a sudden you accidentally wander into an area you're not supposed to be, and that sets off all the guards. It's like, oh shit. At that point, you're just best off reloading the save because the combat in this game fucking sucks. So it's not going to get very high, but I do love the idea, and it's got an interesting story. It also came out on PC, so I think the PC version is available on GOG. So if you want to play this game, you can get this game for not very much money at all on Good Old Games. And GOG do a really good job of making sure that all their games work on modern operating systems. So, In Cold Blood is going to go at the bottom. Not because it's a bad game, but because it is probably the most flawed of all the games we've looked at yet. In Cold Blood. Okay. Next one. It's another PlayStation 1 game. And it's a first-person shooter, and it's another very late PlayStation 1 game. It is Alien Resurrection. Alien Resurrection is, I think, really cool. It's a really interesting, really ambitious first-person shooter for the PlayStation. That really pushes that hardware in some very interesting ways. Also, it's compatible with a mouse. So it's a first-person shooter you can play with a mouse on the PlayStation, which is almost unheard of on that platform. Basically, you have to dual wield. So you plug the mouse into controller port 2, while leaving the regular controller, the regular DualShock, plugged into controller port 1. And so, if you can imagine, you're holding the left-hand side of a DualShock in your left hand, and you're using the mouse in your right. So it actually works really well if you choose to play the game that way. Because it gives you kind of the benefits of both a mouse and an analog stick, which you can't really do, like, even today. So you've got the fine movement of the analog stick with the precise aiming of the mouse. It works really well. And also this game just looks really good for a PlayStation 1 game. If I could just bring up some footage, actually. Bring up some gameplay footage, because this game deserves it. Here we go. Okay. And it's a really technically ambitious game. You have to be careful during combat, because the game makes a like a gameplay use out of the xenomorph's acid blood. Because if you're too close to a xenomorph when you shoot it, you'll get splashed with blood, and that will hurt you. As you shoot xenomorphs, they'll leave puddles of blood on the ground, and if you walk through the puddles of acid blood, it'll hurt you. So you got to keep that in mind as you go through the game. See if we can get some actual shooting. Here we go. It looks like the person is playing this with a dual analog setup. They're not using a mouse.
I apologize for any inconvenience.
I swear I've recorded some footage of myself playing this game with a mouse before. It might be in one of my PlayStation 1 Then and Now videos. Would have been in the 2000... one of the 2000 videos. Yeah, I've definitely recorded myself playing this with a mouse. It's definitely the best way to play it. Although playing it with a dual analog setup is perfectly fine. This game is also very dark. There are large sections of levels in this game that have very, very low light, and that's intentional. This is less of an action game and more of a horror game, and it's really cool. It's a really cool late PS1 first-person shooter. I think you get the idea. It's by Argonaut, by the way. Argonaut made this. The creators of Star Fox, Argonaut, and the Super Effects chip. It's better than In Cold Blood. It's better than Escape from Monkey Island. It's not as good as Elite Force. So it goes here. Okay, so new number 17, Alien Resurrection. Alright. Another PlayStation 1 game. A lot of PlayStation 1 games in the 2000 section. Let me just change the art, the box. To Alone in the Dark, The New Nightmare. Alone in the Dark, The New Nightmare, or otherwise known as the only good Alone in the Dark game. It's kind of sad how Alone in the Dark has kind of become like a butt of jokes. It's a shame because, I mean, without Alone in the Dark, we probably wouldn't have Resident Evil. Possibly. Because let's just straight up say it right now. Like, Resident Evil is the better franchise, but they absolutely stole Alone in the Dark's lunch. Alone in the Dark came up with the fixed camera perspective, pre-rendered backgrounds idea first, before Resident Evil. But they just weren't really able to get the gameplay down. Those first 3 Alone in the Dark games are important, very important, but they are not good. And so Capcom took the concept from those games and made a game that was actually worth playing. Until Alone in the Dark 4, or Alone in the Dark: The New Nightmare, which is actually pretty damn good. This game is interesting because it makes use of a flashlight mechanic in the game. So you're walking around the environment in this game like you would a Resident Evil game, right? Pre-rendered backgrounds, but your character is holding a flashlight or a torch, a handheld light. And you can actually use, I think you use the right analog stick, at least on the PlayStation versions, to point the flashlight around the environment and illuminate different parts of the environment. And it works surprisingly well. For a game that is using pre-rendered backgrounds, it does this thing where, I think what it does, it stores 2 versions of the same background in memory at any one time. And wherever you point the flashlight, it's actually, I want to say this is how it works. But wherever you point the flashlight, it's actually creating a hole in the background and viewing. So there's a version of the background where everything is lit, and there's a version of the background that's in shadow. And the version of the background where everything is lit is behind the version where everything is in shadow. And so I think as you move the flashlight around and highlight parts of the background, you're actually seeing through to the layer that's fully lit to create this impression that you're somehow illuminating this pre-rendered background. And it's a really effective trick. It looks far better than what you would expect it to look like. It's really effective, and it's just neat. The game's also got a really interesting soundtrack. It's I think I once made the joke of the game sounds like it was the soundtrack sounds like it was made by Trent Reznor, because it's got a very Trent Reznor sound to it. A lot of very like grimy like drum and guitar and bass music to it, in a way that you could see Trent Reznor doing, but I don't think Trent Reznor had anything to do with this game's soundtrack. Let me double check. Hang on. Here we go. Sound designers, no. No, it's just people. No. Trent Reznor had nothing to do with this game's soundtrack. It's just a bunch of people doing their best Trent Reznor impression. But anyway, it is the only good Alone in the Dark game, and it's decent. It's genuinely pretty good. It gets a weird reputation. Whenever people bring up Alone in the Dark 4, it's usually to make fun of it, and I don't know why. Because this game is genuinely quite good and inventive, and in some ways technically impressive. Especially for the PlayStation 1. Where would I put it, though? I think it's better than In Cold Blood, but it's not as good as Escape from Monkey Island. So it goes here. Alone in the Dark, The New Nightmare for PS1, PS2, Dreamcast, and PC. One of the few times when you could genuinely say that a PlayStation 1 version of a game was better than the PS2 version. The PS2 version of Alone in the Dark 4 is not good. It runs at a higher resolution, but it doesn't run well. There's like a lot of additional loading, and it's just not very optimized very well for the PS2. Whereas the PS1 version, sure, it doesn't look quite as nice, but it plays a lot better. So if I had to recommend a version of the game, I would recommend the PlayStation 1 version. All right. Next game. Sin and Punishment, Tsuminobatsu for the N64. This game is cool as hell. Hang on, let me... It's an on-rails shooter, but it's on foot. How do I describe this? So imagine, it's like Star Fox, but instead of you being in a ship, you're on foot, right?
Archie. Hurry.
And if enemies coming at you, you can try and shoot them with your pistol. If enemies get too close, you have a sword that you can swing to deal with them. The general aesthetic and vibe of this game is extremely post-Evangelion. you can really tell the people who wrote this game were really into Evangelion. Holy shit. It is the most hang on. Let me show some gameplay. It is the most post-Evangelion game that ever did post-Evangelion. It's like, wow, like, oh boy. It's a game from that era when, like, you know, the first few years after, after Evangelion came out, that everyone was just trying to copy Evangelion in terms of its tone. And it's not necessarily a negative. It kind of works for this game. This game's kind of cool. So let me get some gameplay going here. Here we go. So this is the gameplay of Sin and Punishment. I have to say though, this game was a Japan exclusive. This game did not come out of Japan for a very long time. This game did not get an official Western release until the Wii Virtual Console, which is when I played the game for the first time. This game is, for an N64 game, it's rad as hell. Also, this is one of the very, very few N64 games that runs at 60 frames a second. And that really really makes a difference in this game. Some of the levels, this game really goes places. So the story's hard to describe. I don't know if I could even tell you the story. All I know is that you are fighting. You and your group of teenagers are fighting with the world government over what is the best way to save the world, basically. It's like... and I don't know if I could properly say this, because it's got a weird fucked up story. One of your friends has turned into a giant mech. I don't know how, I don't know why. This game has a batshit story that does not explain itself very well. All I know is that a big part of this game's plot is that one of your friends has transformed into a giant mech, and now world governments are trying to kill them. And there you have to protect your friend, who is this giant battle mech. So let's look at a different mission. Hang on. You can probably tell this game has an incredibly low poly look. Incredibly low poly. Like, even for the N64, this game is super low poly. And that is in service of the frame rate. In order to get a consistent 60 frames a second on the N64, you basically need to have single-digit polygons for your character models. It's got a really interesting style to it. Okay, let's go to one of the more interesting levels in the game. Oh my god. So there's a mission where... So, here's a mission. One of your friends is psychic and can move things around with her mind. And there's a part of the game where you're infiltrating like a government fleet. And what your friend does, she basically controls this big slab of metal that you're standing on top of, and basically flies it over the enemy fleet, and you're just standing on this slab of metal as it's flying across the ocean doing like spins, and it's just insane. This is a game you kind of have to see. I can't describe it. It's too weird.
Watch out. All fighters away from the flagship.
What? The floor!
If they attack
Here we go. This is the mission I'm talking about. Like, literally, your psychic friend breaks off this giant slab of metal, and you just proceed to fly over and fight this entire fleet on this flying piece of metal. It's kind of nuts. I love this game so much. It's so bizarre. It's so strange. There's nothing else quite like it. It is, it's really unique. Sin and Punishment is an incredibly unique rail shooter. I think there was a sequel to it. There was a Sin and Punishment 2 for the Wii. I never played the sequel. I've heard good things, though. Oh God, where is it? There's another mission I want to quickly look at. Is this the one? No. So there's a part of this game.
Continue.
Hang on. See if I can quickly scrub through this video and find it. Well, here you are, you're fighting a giant battleship. So yeah, this boss fight is you're fighting this giant battleship. And then, because your friend has turned into the giant mech, and the governments are sending this battleship to try and kill them, and you don't want them to kill them, you know. So you're trying to intercept the battleship to stop them from killing your friend. And after the boss fight, the battleship basically goes on a... oh God, it tries to crash into your friend. Hang on. Here we go. I think it's this. No, they launch a bomb. They launch a giant bomb towards your friend, who is the giant mech at this point, and you have to chase down this bomb before it hits your friend. And so that's your friend. It's a really wild game. It's a really wild game. So you're trying to shoot this bomb from behind while your friend, the giant mech, is trying to shoot the bomb from in front. So you're having to dodge your friend's own shots coming at you from the distance. And it's really cool. See, look, your friend's like, oh, there's a bomb coming in, I'm going to shoot. But of course that creates incoming shots that you've got to avoid as well. It's crazy. I think, yeah, by the end of the game... Okay, I have to talk about this. This game has one of the most unhinged final bosses ever. You have to fight... You fight the Earth. Literally, the final boss in this game is the planet Earth. And you, as the mech friend, has to basically destroy the Earth. It is, it's wild. This game is incredible. I wish they made more of them. There is nothing else quite like it. It is extremely post-Evangelion, in the best ways and the worst ways. It is fucking incredible. It is maybe one of the most insane N64 games. It is absolutely worth playing if you ever get a chance to play it. The controls are very awkward to learn, but once you learn the controls, there's nothing else like this. There's nothing else like this game. It's incredible. I love it. Let's rank it. Okay. Sin and Punishment for the N64. It's better than In Cold Blood. It's better than Alone in the Dark. It's better than Escape from Monkey Island. It's better than Alien Resurrection. I would take it over Ridge Racer 64. It's better than Tacky on the Fringe. It's a better game than Perfect Dark. It's better than Chase the Express. I think it's a better game than Skies of Arcadia. It's better than Jet Set Radio. It's better than Spyro. Should we turn the music back on? It's getting a little bit quiet. Here we go. Some background music. It's better than Phantasy Star Online. It's better than Colin McRae Rally 2. It's not as good as Pokemon Crystal. Here we go. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Sin and Punishment is number 7 of 2000. Okay, another semi-obscure one. If I can find the box art for it. Do I not have box art for it? That's annoying. Hang on, let me go quickly grab some box art. Grandia 2. There we go. Okay, I can't find the European cover. Oh no. Oh no, there it is. There's the European cover. Okay, trying to use European covers wherever possible. But obviously that's not always going to be possible. Here we go. Grandia 2, another Dreamcast game. Grandia 2 is a neat RPG for the Dreamcast. That's from Game Arts. I've spoken about Grandia 2 on this channel multiple times before. I'm quite fond of this game, although it does have... It's not as good as the first game. Grandia 1 is a far superior game to Grandia 2. But Grandia 2 is like a solid sequel that I still really enjoy. The Dreamcast version is better than the PS2 version. The PS2 version has a horrible, horrible frame rate. It's got kind of a bad art style. How do I put this? It came out at a time when everyone was doing full 3D graphics, whether they should or not. And Grandia 2 is a game that definitely suffers from being a full 3D game. Grandia 1 used a combination of 3D models and 2D sprites for its characters and environments. Grandia 2 goes completely 3D, but the environments just do not... They look kind of... I don't know. The game just aesthetically isn't very pleasing to look at. Grandia 1, even though it's a PlayStation and Saturn game, so on a technical level, isn't as, impressive as Grandia 2. Grandia 1 aesthetically is a much nicer looking game because they are working around the limitations of the hardware in a much more effective way than Grandia 2 does. Grandia 2, you end up with a game that just kind of looks ugly from like an aesthetic standpoint. And I don't know, it's a shame. It's a shame because this game plays quite well. It's one of my favourite Dreamcast RPGs. Even if it is not as good as the first one, where would I put Grandia 2? I would personally put Grandia 2 here, above Elite Force. There we go. Between Ridge Racer 64 and Star Trek Voyager Elite Force. Oh, fuck's sake. I did it again. Highlight. Oh my god. Hang on. There we go. Grandia 2 from Game Arts for the Dreamcast and PS2. It's number 17 on this list. So here's the deal. I have bitten off far more than I thought I could chew. We have hundreds of games to go, and we are 2.5 hours into this stream. This is not good. I thought we would be going a lot faster than this. I have screwed up bad. I've screwed up really, really bad. I've messed up horribly. So what we're going to do... I did not intend this to be this way. I thought we were just going to go bang, 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 bang all the way down, but this is taking a lot longer than I envisioned, and I am so sorry. We're probably going to have to turn this into multiple streams. Did not intend for this. This is my bad. So if we do 2,000 today, and we carry on with 2001 next time. And then I guess 2002 after that, and 2003 and 4. Oh my god. It'll get easier as we get closer to the end. Because as we get closer to the end, the number of games I like coming out each year gets lower and lower. But but yeah, we have, man, I'm so sorry. I screwed up bad. Any chance of a replay of Panzer Dragoon? The original? The original Panzer Dragoon? Like 1? Because I can play Panzer Dragoon. I could play it right now, actually. No, I'm actually not set up to play it right now. I am, like I said, I made the horrible mistake of thinking I could do this all in one stream, and I've surrounded myself with things that will get in the way. But we could do that another time. Would you prefer emulator, remake, or real hardware? I could do all three. I've even got the PC version somewhere in a box somewhere. I'll see if I can find it. Fun fact about the PC version of Panzer Dragoon: the back of that box says that game has 3 levels, which is wrong because obviously the person in charge of writing the blurb on the back of that box clearly only played that game on easy, because if you play that game on easy, you can only play the first 3 levels. So, whereas if you play the game on normal or hard, you get the full 5 levels. Zwei or Saga? So, I've played through the entirety of Zwei. I played through the entirety of Zwei on my Ranking of Saturn series. You can go and find that video if you want to watch me play through the entirety of Zwei. I have already played through the entirety of Saga on my channel. In fact, it was the very, very first thing I uploaded to my channel back in 2008? 9? I don't remember. Hang on. Yeah, the very first thing I uploaded to my channel 17 years ago was a full playthrough of Saga. So if you want to watch me play Saga, there you go. I could do an updated playthrough at some point. That is always an option. That's definitely not off the table, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Yeah, hang on. Yeah, there we go. It's my oldest videos. Full playthrough of Saga, baby. Right there. With the best ending and the best dragon. Yeah. That was uploaded at a time when you could still only get 10-minute long videos on YouTube. That was a long fucking time ago. Oh my god. I uploaded these, I recorded and I uploaded these on a Windows XP machine. That's how long ago that was. Yikes. Christ, I'm dying. Anyway, let's finish this off quickly, shall we? With the last game, Counter-Strike. Hang on, let me get some box art. So here's the thing, Counter-Strike has multiple releases. I'm talking about the original OG release of Counter-Strike. Back in 2000 when it was still just a mod. before Valve picked it up and then sold it. Back when you had to download this thing. Original OG Counter-Strike, baby. Oh shit, where's... need to find a usable... yeah, Counter-Strike, there we go. Damn it. Do not have enough desktop space. Move that here. Select that, click open, and OK. There we go. Counter-Strike. What could I possibly say about Counter-Strike that hasn't already been said about Counter-Strike? It began as a mod for the original Half-Life that proved to be so popular, Valve hired the people who made it and turned it into a real commercial product, which is incredible. Very, very fast-paced team, very fast-paced team shooter, where you can do regular all against all deathmatch, team deathmatch, or what was probably one of the more popular game modes, which was disarm the bomb. So you'd have terrorists and counter-terrorists, and if you're playing as the terrorists, you have a bomb on your side of the map that you've got to defend for a certain amount of time. Usually it's like 10 minutes, I think. And if you're playing as the counter-terrorists, you have to fight your way into the terrorist base and disarm the bomb, you know, before the timer runs out. Very, very simple idea, works incredibly well, continues to work to this day. Counter-Strike is one of the most popular multiplayer games on Earth still. It's crazy how popular this game, or versions of this game, still remain. There have been multiple different versions of Counter-Strike. There's original mod Counter-Strike. There was Counter-Strike 1.6, which is the one that most people play when they go back to original Counter-Strike. There's Counter-Strike Source, which is the original Source engine version of Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike series, hang on. Let's look at them properly. So yeah, the original mod came out in 2000. Counter-Strike Condition 0, which was that a... Is that an all-new game, or was that based on the original version? I didn't play Condition 0. I played the original one, and I played Source, which came out in 2004. Then there was the very, very, very humorously named Counter-Strike Online, because motherfucker, like, Counter-Strike is always played online or on a LAN party, actually, but you know, a lot of people were playing Counter-Strike Online from day one, so it's very funny that they would put out a game called Counter-Strike Online in 2008. Then there was arguably the most popular entry in the franchise, Counter-Strike Go, which was 2012. Okay, Counter-Strike Online was a Asia-only entry in the series. Apparently that was targeted towards Asia's gaming market, released. Okay, that's what that is. I wondered why I'd never heard of Counter-Strike Online before. Then there was, only a couple of years ago, they finally put out Counter-Strike 2. You know, the second Counter-Strike game. It's funny that the Counter-Strike 2 is actually the 9th Counter-Strike game. I love it when companies do that. It's like a long-running franchise for decades with lots and lots of entries, and then they just because they haven't done it before, they go, let's call the next one 2. Except it's like the 9th in the series. It's very funny. At least it's funny to me. I'm dumb. I find dumb things funny. That's just my brain. You know, Counter-Strike 2, the 9th Counter-Strike game. I haven't actually played 2 yet. I hear good things. 2 is apparently a little bit demanding because it's got that volumetric smoke tech. That they're using that actually like moves around and disperses and clumps up realistically around the environment. That sounds really cool. Their weird volumetric smoke tech in Counter-Strike 2. You know, it means that smoke grenades are far more effective indoors than they are outdoors. You know, because that would mean that in real life, you set off a smoke grenade outside, it's like in your way for a few seconds, and then the wind just blows it away. Whereas indoors, that shit sticks around a lot longer. I should give Counter-Strike 2 a try at some point. I really should play that game. It looks so cool. It looks like they're doing interesting things, you know. It's not just a sequel for the sake of a sequel. They're actually doing something unique with it, which is cool. So, where are we putting Counter-Strike on this list? I have played probably hundreds of hours of Counter-Strike over the years. I never considered myself good at Counter-Strike, but that didn't stop me from playing a ton of it. Like, so much of it. Like, an unhealthy amount of Counter-Strike. My God. It's... Hang on, let me just get rid of these. We're not going to need these. It's better than Perfect Dark. It's a better first-person shooter than Perfect Dark, that's for damn sure. It's a better game than Scars of Arcadia. I would take OG Counter-Strike over Phantasy Star Online as an online experience. I would take it over Sin and Punishment. I would take it over Star Trek Klingon Academy. I would take it over The Sims. Where would you guys personally put Counter-Strike? Do you have any experience with OG Counter-Strike? Is this a game that you've had, like, sleepless nights playing when you're supposed to be getting up early the next morning? Because I definitely had some, let's just say some school nights where I should have been in bed, but instead I was up playing Counter-Strike. Very fond memories of Counter-Strike. I would take it over Code Veronica. I would... Man. Would I take Counter-Strike over Majora's Mask? Hang on, I need to jog my memory. We need to see some gameplay of original Counter-Strike. My God, Jesus Christ. Do I need 1440p footage of Counter-Strike? Not really. This is a game that I originally played on my piece of shit Windows Millennium Edition PC back in like 2001, 2002 at like 640 by 480. So... God damn it. And of course it's Dust. Of course they're playing on Dust. Dust is the only map in Counter-Strike. I mean, it's not the only map in Counter-Strike, but it might as well be the only fucking map in Counter-Strike. Oh my God. Part of what made this game so much fun was the time to death count on this game. You die incredibly fast. It only takes like 2 or 3 bullets to kill you in this game. You go down so quickly compared to other like contemporary shooters of the time, like a Quake 3 or an Unreal Tournament. You go down so fast, but you also like games are over. Like games last minutes, you know. So even if you get killed relatively early in a game, and like that game will be over in like 3 or 4 minutes, and then you can try again. It's like really, really addictive. You don't have to wait long to get back into the action, and it also adds a lot of adds a lot of tension to the game as well, because you know you die so quickly. It really forces you to try and use cover. You're not just out there bunny hopping, you know. I mean, some people were, but those people weren't human. It really forces you to try and use cover because you just go down so quick. You can't afford to take bullets. You just can't.
2 enemies left.
So you end up with this really fast-paced online shooter that is genuinely sometimes like
There's 1 left.
scary, like genuinely scary, because you know if you're not keeping your eyes open and you're not checking corners, you take a stray bullet and you're down. You're dead, you know. You got to wait till the next round. it's a really, I guess the closest equivalent to it that isn't Counter-Strike would be modern Call of Duty, I guess. But modern Call of Duty is still not quite the same. Modern Call of Duty has a different feel, completely different feel. This is a lot more chaotic. Counter-Strike is a lot more chaotic than Call of Duty.
You got away.
Fuck. Oh man, I've made my decision. I've made my decision. Okay. Yeah, man, like, it's my list. My opinion is purely subjective and my reason is arbitrary, but I would put Counter-Strike at number 1. Absolutely. I played too much of this game to not do that. Holy shit. Yeah, it's Counter-Strike. Holy shit. Like, too many people played too many sleepless nights. The early 2000s, in terms of online shooters, it was Counter-Strike. It was Counter-Strike. Yeah, you had Quake 3 and Unreal Tournament over here if you wanted to. But if you were a certain type of teenage asshole, you were playing Counter-Strike. Fuck yeah. I kind of want to play Counter-Strike now. Man. I've got the fuzzies. I've got the nostalgic fuzzies for Counter-Strike in a way that I didn't think I would. Oh no, I might have to go and play some Counter-Strike on Steam now. They still do maintain a Counter-Strike 1.6 server, don't they? That is still a thing, right? I don't know. It might just be a thing I have to find and install myself. Yeah, it might be a thing I'll have to do off Steam. Oh no. OG Counter-Strike is still on Steam. Yeah, it's still on Steam. They're still selling it, and it's currently on sale for nothing. £1.43. It's basically free. Like, what are we doing? Yeah, I'm gonna have to go and do that now. I'm gonna have to go and play some Counter-Strike. Play some Dust, because no other maps exist. There are no other maps in Counter-Strike, only Dust. So yeah, thank you for joining me for what turned out to be part 1 of ranking the years 2000 to 2025. I did not intend it to be this way, but it just kind of worked out that way. There are too many games. There are simply too many games to rank. I'm so sorry about this. This was not the plan. You have to believe me. This was not the plan. Yeah, man. Here's a quick peek of the games I've chosen for those of you who want to pause and look at it watching the VOD. If you think I've missed something out, let me know in the comments. It's like, hey, I paused on 2008 and noticed you didn't have this game down, even though it was really popular and successful. Have you considered putting that game down? There are requirements. I will have needed to have played the game. If it's a game that I haven't played or I feel like I haven't put enough time into, it will not be considered. And I need to at least like the game. That's the thing. We're not going to rank every single game that exists because that'll take us years and I don't really need that kind of additional project. So we're going to stick it to games that I at least have. Are either Games that I have played a significant amount of, that I at least either like or find really interesting. There we go. If you've got suggestions, please put them in the comments. Only 25 years to go, yeah. We're going to do one of these every year. It's going to be December every year. Like, join me next year for 2001. Like, no, we're not going to fucking do that. I'll probably do an hour stream of like, maybe once a week if I've got time. Maybe. I've got a lot of free time these days. At most, I could do one a week, but I don't know if I could do that. It might be 1 or 2 a month, realistically. Jesus Christ, what have I done? Oh no. I don't need another gigantic project immediately right now. Oh no. We will come back to this when we come back to this. I will let you know when. It will not be next stream, because next stream is a special stream. Next week, that will be, we will be opening a bunch of weird, obscure trading cards. If you haven't seen that, let me just bring up the teaser for next week. Let me find, oh no. Where have I put it? Uh-oh. I can't find shit. Where is it? Thumbnails. There it is. There's the folder. There's the thumbnails folder. So here is the teaser for next stream, which is next week, after Christmas. But before New Year, we will be opening a bunch of weird, obscure trading cards. I've got a bucket, and I do mean a bucket full of packs of old trading cards. And we're just going to spend the entire stream just opening card packs. Fuck it. And there will be no Pokemon. There will be no Magic the Gathering. This is all weird, old, obscure shit that I managed to get hold of for super cheap on eBay. So look forward to that. It's going to be unusual, but I'm kind of looking forward to it because it's unusual. Anyway, let's just go over the ranking one more time. In 23rd place, In Cold Blood by Revolution. In 22nd place, Alone in the Dark, The New Nightmare by Darkworks. In 21st place, Escape from Monkey Island by LucasArts. In 20th place, Alien Resurrection by Argonaut. In 19th place, Star Trek Voyager Elite Force by Raven Software. In 18th place, Grandia 2 by Game Arts. In 17th place, Ridge Racer 64 by Nintendo, not Namco. 16th place, Tachyon the Fringe by Nova Logic. In 15th place, Perfect Dark by Rare. In 14th place, Chase the Express by Sugar and Rockets. In 13th place, Skies of Arcadia by Overworks. In 12th place, Jet Set Radio by Smilebit. In 11th place, Spyro Year of the Dragon by Insomniac. In 10th place, Phantasy Star Online by Sonic Team. In 9th place, Colin McRae Rally 2 by Codemasters. In 8th place, Sin and Punishment by Treasure. In 7th place, Pokemon Crystal by Game Freak. In 6th place, Star Trek Klingon Academy by 14 Degrees East. In 5th place, The Sims by Maxis. In 4th place, Resident Evil Code Veronica by Capcom. In 3rd place, The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask by Nintendo. In 2nd place, Final Fantasy IX by Squaresoft. And in 1st place, Counter-Strike from Valve. quite the collection of games there. I would call none of them bad, only flawed. Some of them heavily flawed in the case of In Cold Blood, but there's enough there in Cold Blood to interest you if you've got the patience. Cool. What a weird stream this has been. I don't know what the purpose of this was, only to, I don't know, find an excuse to stream, I guess. Thank you for everyone coming to watch this mess, and it was a mess. I don't stream very often, so I don't really get the opportunity to, hone my craft, so every time I do it, I'm flailing because I'm trying to remember what I did last time. Anyway, that's all from me this week. Hopefully, if all goes well, I will see you next week to open some card packs. Thank you for joining me. My name is The Real Blue Dragon, and goodbye.